On a sunny day in June, a tired crew was heading home to Pearl Harbor, Hawaii from Desert Storm on an enormous ship. It was so big, people ran track on it for exercise. Only a Major League Baseball player could have hit a ball from one end to the other. The ship's massive propeller was as tall as houses, chopping out a steady rhythm in the tropical daylight. The sun was shining, the sea calm and blue, and sailors were playing basketball on the flight deck. The flight deck was where the cowboy chopper pilots whirled their 2-ton bricks 180 degrees, swinging death on a rope while hanging by spinning knives called rotors. Honestly, the damn things shouldn't even fly, but they do. Crates came down, crates went up for months with surprisingly few injuries and no deaths. The danger the crew really feared, of course, was that they would lose the basketball over the side. The backboard was screwed to the steel on one end, and there was a long way to the railings at the far end, but they were low so they wouldn't interfere with the chopper's landing there. The flight deck was 5 floors, over 50 feet above the water, yet the ship itself went up 7 more floors. They started the trip with 8 basketballs. When you lose a basketball on a ship so big that it takes a mile to stop and 3 to turn around, you don't get your basketball back. The game was fast and fun, people were hitting their shots, and it was the last basketball. A quick rebound and pass to the outside put the ball in the hands of a tall girl who was immediately surrounded. She took a long shot over the heads of the other team from there. The ball arced through the air and crushed the edge of the hoop, rebounding with twice the speed and an alarming angle, headed straight for the edge and oblivion for basketballs. A petty officer, we'll call him DC-1 Jimmy, was there when this crazy shot hit the rim of the hoop and flew down the flight deck. An enormous man in both breadth and height, he took a moment to get up to speed, but on the bounce, he was after it. Another bounce, and the very large but determined Jimmy closed in hot pursuit. It would not escape him. One more bounce, and Jimmy gave a tremendous leap, flying through the air and seizing the ball. You should have seen his face. He was so happy. And then he sailed right over the rail. 50 feet he fell, yelling all the way, to plunge headfirst into the boiling sea where the gigantic propeller cut it into a swirling line of green foam a mile long. The crew, aghast, pressed against the rail, shouting, staring at the sea. Time stretched, every second an hour. The general alarm sounded, and still, no Jimmy. The deck began to shake and buck with the engines slammed in reverse. The ship fought to stop, but it had never taken less than a mile to do it. Still no Jimmy. The shouting finally stopped, and the dreadful silence grew among the sounds of shrieking, tortured machinery. Then they saw it. A pinprick of orange bobbing in the sea far, far away, and a tiny little man clinging to it. Dropping a whaleboat over the side, the sailors lit the engine and sped for DC-1 Jimmy. They were there in a flash and radioed that he was okay. Better than okay, he was entirely unharmed. It was a miracle. No, actually, it was the basketball. Jimmy had a death grip on the basketball as he plunged headfirst into the sea and was whirled into the darkness fathoms under by the propeller. The blades had missed him, as fortune favors the foolish. In the icy blackness, he didn't know which way was up, how far it might be. All he had was the basketball still gripped in his outstretched hands. Frozen in confusion and running out of air, Jimmy didn't realize the ball was dragging him to the surface. until he saw the light and burst through with great gasps of life. They brought him on board dripping, still white-knuckling the orange ball, alive. His friends crowded around him with, "You shouldn't have done that," and other equally helpful advice. He didn't have a lot to say, as folks often don't after such a close shave. When everything is hopeless, dark, and the odds are against you, when you're completely out of air and ideas, if you can just hang on a little bit longer, sometimes that will be enough to get you through. Nobody knows for sure how things will end. The sailors lost the ball over the rail that evening, and nobody chased it. They lit smokes and watched it float away on the long, lit green tail behind until it disappeared into the tropical sunset. How did I hear this story? I was the one who shot the basketball. Give me a like and subscribe to keep the stories coming. Please pick up a poster or a tee at summerheight.com. There's a whole song right here. Also, available on Spotify and most other streaming services. The next story is right there.